Don't clap yet, you haven't heard it. Okay. I'm Dom Hodgson. It's the 9th of January 2022, and I'm at Walt Disney World in Florida. But this is as close as I'm getting to the castle, because it's 3 a.m. I'm surrounded by 20,000 fit and healthy runners, and I'm about to do a marathon. I'm in pain because yesterday I did a half marathon, the day before that I did a 10K, and the day before that I did a 5K. I'm tired because to get to this run at 3 a.m., I had to wake up at 1 a.m., which means I had to go to bed at 7 p.m. at Disney World when the rides are still going and the fireworks haven't happened. I'm warm because it's 20 degrees Celsius, and by the time I finish this marathon, it's going to be 33 degrees. We're going to get back to that. I'm terrified because I've never done a marathon before, and also I haven't actually done a training run in almost a year. But let's go back a bit. Registration for the marathon opens in April, and April 2021 was a slightly different time. The US border was closed, we were still wearing masks, and the idea of 20,000 people in a space was unbelievable. So when me and a friend registered for the marathon, it was more like, oh, you know what, we tried to do it, but when it was inevitably cancelled, no way, this is happening. Now, I did start some training, I won't lie, and it was going really, really well. You can see that I did some swimming and everything, and it was going great until I took my daughter ice skating. And then 3 minutes after this photo was taken, and 8 hours in A&E, I broke my shoulder. But still, it's fine because no way this is happening. And then Disney dropped the mask mandate, but no way this is happening. I mean, you know, you still can't fly to America. Okay. And then on Christmas Day, after the turkey and tinsel, my mother-in-law leans over, looks at me and went, "You're off to Disney World next week, aren't you?" Oh, shit. This is happening. Have you ever been at the start of a race looking around, knowing that you're going to be one of the last to finish? Have you recently realized that a chatbot knows more about programming than you? Have you ever agreed to keynote a conference and then had to Google half the stuff that people are talking about? There's this thing called imposter syndrome. Now, I just want to stop here. If you Google imposter, this comes up, right, from the game Among Us. I'm 37 years old. I've never played this game, so using this artwork, I'd just be pandering to you, and I'm not going to do that. So instead, I'm going to make up some stuff using, I feel bad for the ethics now, because I feel like I've killed a tree every time that I've done one of these images. So imposter syndrome, that feeling that you're a pretender, that you don't know enough, that you're not supposed to be there. And for 90% of the time, it's just confidence. You need to believe in yourself that you're there. But sometimes you're an imposter, okay? Sometimes you are. There's no getting around it. But that's not a bad thing, because I'm a constant imposter. I'm an imposter all the time, because we all start out as imposters. Whenever we start something new, whenever we take on a new hobby or a new project, we're trying to learn as much as we can to get in, so we can go to these conferences and, like, when people are talking, go, yeah, I know what that is. I understand some of these words. But just because that you're new to something doesn't mean you're an imposter. Just because you've been doing it a while. We all have a certain level that we get to, and we think, you know what, I'm comfortable with this. I don't need to learn anymore. We can't know everything about everyone. And I'm disappointed that my dad joke didn't get any laughs there. All right, I'm taking down all your names for that. That's why it comes up when you ask for Midjourney for an expert. I was well happy. So you can't be an expert in everything. I mean, even the chasers have gaps in their knowledge, and they're on TV doing this. So let's talk about me being an imposter for a subject. So let's talk about rugby league. I really, really like rugby league. I'm a season ticket holder. I go to matches all the time. This is me and my granddad. This year we'll be on our 11th Wembley trip in a row. Doesn't matter who's there, we're going. This is Harry Newman. He plays for Leeds Rhinos. Can I tell you where he played as a kid? Nope. Can I tell you his latest stats? Not a clue. All right? Can I tell you whether he's a better fullback or scrum half? I couldn't even tell you what those two things are. Can I pick him out of a lineup? Almost certainly. And if I can't, he's got his name on his back, so it makes it easier to shout his name out. I'm an imposter when it comes to rugby league. I'll never have the knowledge for that in-depth pub conversation. But does that stop me from contributing to rugby league podcasts, from joining those communities, to sometimes being interviewed on local radio about it? It doesn't. Because even though I think, what if I look stupid when I do these things? I just say I don't know. And those words, I don't know, gives the opportunity for the other people to go, okay, here's what we're going to do. And 90% of the time, you're saying I don't know to people who this is what they're an expert in. This is their passion. And they get a little glint in their eye and they go, okay, well, here's how it is. And, they start getting the catch up and they start explaining everything to the other. And especially when they're doing, like, rugby league stuff, I just go, yeah, drink. Now, there are gatekeepers, or as I like to call them, arseholes, who think that, you need to have a certain level of knowledge to do something. You need to have achieved a certain thing. But let me tell you something. The world loves an imposter. So those arseholes are the minority. And I'm going to go through 3. This is Eddie the Eagle. Right? I'm sure many of you heard the story. This guy literally went to the Olympics. It was his life dream to go to the Olympics. So he picked Olympic ski jumping. Why? Was it his athletic prowess? No. Was it for the fact that he could set a good time? No. It was the fact that nobody else had entered Olympic ski jumping. So by default, he got to the Olympics. Did he do very well? No. But the world loved him. This one's going to be a little bit controversial. Captain Tom is an imposter. Okay? This guy raised £30 million for the NHS. And he went to the end of his garden, quite a big garden. He's got some cash. Quite a big garden, and back 100 times. An athletic achievement. If you look at Captain Tom and me, you don't think athletic achievement. But together, we've raised over £30 million for charities. I'm glad you laughed at that, because my wife did not, and I was well good. Right? But being an imposter isn't always a great thing. Sometimes you can get into high places with limited knowledge or ability. But let's go back to running. I hate it. Let me be honest. I hate the cold. I hate the training. I hate being outside. I hate the shoes and the expensive shoes. And mostly, I hate this, like, pasta before the race bullshit. Right? This was me the day before a half marathon. That is a share a cocktail. And let me tell you, I had 1.5 of them because my friend couldn't finish theirs. But the thing I hate most about running is running. I can't understand why people do it. And people say to me, you'll love it. I was like, I've done enough. I don't need to. I think I don't like it. So why do it? Right? And the reason is I do it for a charity. There's a local hospice that we support as a family. They need to send me a high-def logo next time. But they do some amazing stuff for kids and families with life-limiting illnesses. But I firmly believe that if you are raising money for charity, and I'm looking at you all right now, you should not enjoy it. Because I have proof that pain equals pounds. Okay, and I'll give you some examples. You come to me and you say, hey, Dom, I'm doing a sponsored skydive, all right? And I'll say to you, great, what charity? And do you want to do a skydive? And if you say to me, yes, Dom, I've always wanted to do a skydive, it's my lifetime's ambition, I'm going to give you some money, but not enough. Not as much. Because number one, I'm helping you with your lifetime dream. And number two, you've got 3 arms. And not many people have noticed that. But if you say to me, Dom, the idea of getting on a plane terrifies the shit out of me. I don't want to take one step. Then I'm going to give you some more money because you're an imposter. You're putting the achievement over yourself. You really want to do this. You're passionate about it. And I think that's worth more in a lot of cases and with a lot of fundraising that I've done. So that's how I do running. I also love to create joy. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of a detour here because literally I tried to create joy with this by asking it to go, here's a picture of Joy and here's a picture of me, and put it together. And this is what we ended up with after a lot of refinement, all right? Now, there's only us in this room. I'm going to show you what it came up with first. But all of you have got to promise not to put it on social media. Right? Okay? This is what it came up with first. There is nothing more humbling than asking an AI to generate a photo of you, and you going, oh my God. So we're going to stick with this, okay? creating joy. Martin House create joy with all the work that they do, and that's why we try and help them. But when I'm doing a race, what about everybody else? What about the people on the side who have clapped? Sometimes they're for hours. Clapping, wrist movements. What about the people at home who have donated and want to see pictures and things like that and want to cheer you on? And what about your fellow runners? Some of them, literally every step they take is hard. How can we create joy for them? And the way that I do it is costumes. Because my running mantra is, if you can't be fast, then be funny. And so every race I've ever done has been in a costume, and I've done them around the world. Every single one of them in a stupid costume. I did the Las Vegas half marathon in that. It was so sweaty, I left it in the hotel room. I just checked out. I was like, I'm leaving it. So if you ever check into the Oyo Hotel in Las Vegas, like room 117, just see if it's in the wardrobe. In some cases, I've been the only runner in costume. I did the Weatherby 10K a few years ago, and I was the only one. And after 2.5K, I was like, I think I'll go for a little bit of a walk now. And people stopped to see if I needed medical attention. And I was dressed as a parrot. I was like, no, we're on a different race. That one on the end there, that is me dressed as Wreck-It Ralph in a Snow White outfit. And it's from Wreck-It Ralph 2. And that costume appears in the film for about 18 seconds, an hour and a half in. And when people get that costume and shout it out, there's no greater feeling. During the 2020 lockdowns, there was no organized runs. So I took to my treadmill, and every 2 weeks, I did a half marathon in a completely different costume. Yes, I've got a lot of costumes. And every Friday, friends, family, strangers in America would log in and over their Frosties chat to me while I begrudgingly just walked and cried for the last 10 minutes of the half marathon. And we raised loads of money because there was nothing else for people to do. We might as well get that. Over the years, friends and family have joined me for stuff. That's my granddad there. You've seen him in the other slide. Fun fact, he said he wanted to do one with me. We did the Leeds 10K, dressed as Mario and Luigi. 1,000 people shouted, "Go on, Mario, you can do it." Mario's not pushing. Mario's got to hold the bucket. Yeah. But I'm an imposter when it comes to running. I don't even have Strava, right? I'm not in those running. You won't see me at a park run. It's not for me. But that hasn't stopped me from doing 50 half marathons over the world, from creating my own run where anybody can come, they can do 1 lap or they can do 50 laps and they all get a medal with my face on it. We've raised £53,000 for the local hospice doing this and doing other things. But that's not all I'm an imposter with. We've all seen these videos of these houses that sing to music with Christmas lights and gone, oh, that sounds good. And I got a little bit obsessed with them because I really, really wanted to do it. So I spent the time and I went on the forums and I joined the groups because I have no electrical knowledge. I have no musical ability, but I do have a very forgiving wife. So this was the idea that we wanted to go for. And after a year of hard work and research and learning, this is what we wanted, and this is what we got. Yeah, you laugh. I worked a year on that, thanks. Right? Not quite that. And I was an imposter. But you can't get to that in a year. You have to take time. You have to put energy in. And this was one subject where I wasn't happy being an imposter. I wanted this to become a passion of mine. And actually, it's become a passion for the family that we work on it all year round. Literally, I was working on it last week. And this is what we have now, which is we have 35,000 lights. And at Halloween alone, we had 4,500 people in our garden who went through and sang, and it's all free and all for charity. I still have very little electrical knowledge, no musical ability, and now a mostly forgiving wife. Let's talk about conferences. About 10 years ago, I started speaking at digital marketing conferences. This is one that I spoke at. But they were a little bit boring, and they were really, really expensive. And the people that were there were like the directors and things like that, and not the people who actually cared about the digital marketing, things like that. So I thought, I can do one of my own. And I was so bad at it because I priced it so cheap that it sold out in a day. I had to ask my friends and family to help me butter sandwiches for lunch because we couldn't afford a caterer. And this was the only PR shot I took of the entire day, was of the pick and mix. None of the speakers got press shots. I was an imposter with conferences. But actually, I better hurry up, 5 minutes. That's fine, because imposters have no, set boundary. Nobody expects an imposter to do anything. So what we did was we just did what we wanted. And over 5 years, we became one of the most well-regarded digital marketing conferences. We had entertaining speakers that were informative. And yes, that is a cardboard cut out of me. We had halftime game shows that were fun and informative. And I just want to say, King Charles, I wore it first, right? Because that picture's 10 years old. And our after party was in a casino, and we had a bouncy castle. And if you want to know more about that, ask me in the break, because we've got the Fire Brigade ones. After lunch, we had this idea of pick and mix, and we created a pick and mix suite for every speaker, and they all got a suite branded to them. But what I did, rather than just go and hire them all in for the day, I thought, it's going to work out cheaper if I just buy everything and then get a contact with the distributor. But that meant that these boxes and the agreement with the distributor wouldn't be doing anything for 11 months a year. So we started an online sweet shop. I don't know how to run an online sweet shop. I had no idea, but I just thought it sounded fun, and we'll see what happens. And this was 10 years ago, before all these TikTok shops and everybody was doing it. I called up the local environmental health office because I was like, I don't know if I need to be investigated. I don't know if I need like one of them stars. And I called up, and this lovely woman goes, hello, yeah, hi, I want to sell pick and mix online, and I just know do I need a health certificate? Just give me a minute. Brenda, there's a young man here who wants to sell pick and mix on the internet. No, I don't know why either. I think you'll be fine. No, you're fine, love, thank you. So that was a confidence builder straight up. Someone said to my wife a few weeks ago, being married to Dom must be being married to a carnival. And to a certain extent, she's right. It was her favorite quote. And she puts up with a lot. This was a video we filmed a while ago. But a few years ago, she was like, look, we've had enough. Look, I need a break. We need a holiday, and you need to stop creating projects. So she booked us a 15-night transatlantic cruise across the Atlantic where there was no internet. Well, internet was very expensive. The downside is that we took my 1-year-old daughter. And what she didn't realize is that my 1-year-old daughter goes to bed at 8 o'clock. And what is a married man to do in the room with his wife at 8 o'clock with no internet access? That's right, create a who is parser. So Little Warden was born, and Little Warden's the company we have now. And in many senses, Little Warden is an imposter. It's a tool that tries to be fun, to manage a really, really boring task. And our competitors, or people in our industry, have raised so much money, and I've got so little money. And like the last person said, business is tough at the moment. It's nothing that a few sign-ups from developers wouldn't help with, but a few weeks ago, I went to a founder conference, and there was founders there that had sold their company. There was founders there that had just started out, and everybody is feeling the pinch. Everybody's struggling. But there's this idea that we are going to get through this, and we're going to get through this sooner than we think. And if not, then I have a notebook of ideas that my wife hates me to have a look at. I can see one person pointing. This was the slide that my wife, wrap it up, Dom, I've got 2 minutes left. I was asked to come here and talk to you about some of the stupid stuff I've done in my life, but I really wanted to make the point that I am not a smart man, as you can see. I will point out this. I got really excited while driving my wife's car that it was going to spell boobs on the mileometer, but my dyslexia didn't quite realize it didn't quite spell boobs until I'd taken the photo. I'm not a fit man, and we're going to say no more on this. I'm not an influencer. This is literally an email that LinkedIn sends me every week, right? This is AI trying to tease me. Every single week, your profile's looking great. 1 view, brilliant. And I'm not special. Every single person can do everything I've discussed in this room. You just have to try, be confident, And just don't be afraid to cry on the internet, because I do that a lot. I am an imposter, but imposters can do some pretty good stuff. So why don't we embrace it? I'm Dom Hodgson. Thank you very much.